Now that we've got movies and top fives out of the way, we've talked a little bit about our what ifs. The next topic that we're going to get into is the culture of pickup basketball. Um, I really was excited to talk about this because in our last conversation, when we were going over players in the 28 class, and we brought up AJ and we brought up Kahari, those are two guards to me that really have shown that they are not cone babies. And in this world of training, I think it's important to acknowledge that training is something I wish that I had had more access to growing up as a player because there are very real benefits to it, especially for your skill and your confidence going into games. And elite trainers who translate what you do well into the way that you're used in a game are as top tier as it comes. And I think that they deserve a tremendous amount of praise. That being said, to me, you cannot replace what it is like to simulate 5-on-5 action. Doesn't matter what you do, whether it's 5-on-5, whether it's 3-on-3, whether it's twos, whether it's fours, whatever the case may be. Pickup culture was an enormous part of basketball when I was growing up. And so I'm excited to kind of hear your take on this because, for one, I think the first thing we got to ask is where has it gone? What has happened over the course of maybe COVID, maybe even prior to that, that has led to this just significant downturn in getting kids out ready to play the game at the various gyms across their community.
Sure. I mean, I don't really have a whole lot of things to say about this. I do think there are a couple of reasons and a couple of things that I question. I know personally, I go to Prolific every day, Prolific Park here in Greensboro,
Mhm.
and I can't tell you how many times I've seen kids who are doing drills with no defender or drills against a trash can when they have a defender, they have other players
There's
there.
other people in the workout.
There's
Yeah.
no, yeah, or there's no pickup, even if it's not a workout. I mean, there's these kids are just coming up and doing drills voluntarily when they have four guys. When there's four guys, that means two
Twos.
on two.
Twos, baby.
What are we doing?
Twos.
There's three, we're playing 21, or we're playing King of the Court. We got two, we're playing ones. Like I don't know where that went off either because yeah, that was exactly what it was when I was growing up. If you had enough kids, you were playing that number
Hmm.
of players. You were going to play no matter what.
Sure.
I wonder if it's just different times. You say COVID. I wonder if kids are just different now. I wonder if kids just don't want to compete as much. I wonder if there's just less kids with that level of drive. Um, because I think that there are so many more things that you can have um, at your disposal, whether it be whatever interest you may have as a kid.
Sure.
So there's not this bloodlust, bloodthirst to make it and to be at the highest level of competitiveness. I also think about how kids are always worried about getting hurt. And that is just a thing that I never worried about. I don't know. I can't, I imagine you didn't worry about. That's just not something I ever worried about. I never thought
Yeah.
about, hey, let's play ones, let's play twos, let's play threes, let's play fives, whatever, and ever being like, nah, I can't do it. I can't worry about getting hurt. I would play,
Right.
and then you get hurt, and then you deal with repercussions. You don't anticipate injury and work and move in fear. I think that's a big thing too.
Yeah, I think that I have vivid memories of like breaking this pinky finger that was
Yeah,
broken during a pickup game um in college that just, super intense. It happens. Like it, looked like a Z, had to get it splinted up like the whole nine, and you just kind of play through it. Like it is a different era in that way. But one thing that I will say, and you just said this, and I actually don't agree with this, I don't think that this generation is softer. I
I didn't
think
say softer. I didn't say softer.
you said less competitive,
Yeah,
but I don't know that I would agree with that. I think that it's impossible to know that without putting them in the vessels where they see the value in those things. And so for me, the reason that I wanted to bring up pickup was because what I valued most about pickup is like there is such a clear distinction between what is celebrated now versus what was celebrated when I was in high school and I was in college.
sure.
Because when you played and you didn't have cameras in every gym or you didn't have access to training the way that you had it, And I'm not knocking, like, I don't want people, like, there's coaches on my staff who are trainers and do this thing for a living and are great at it. Like, I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying that for me, your bragging right was how many games you won. And when you start thinking about the way that you had to focus on winning, sometimes that meant I might have a mismatch and I have to be the guy that scores the most. But other times it may mean I better set this away screen for the better shooter on my team. And there was never a time when I would ever, let me rephrase, I don't want to say never. There were a lot more times when I would try to roll into a gym with five
Mhm.
than I would try and roll into a gym with just myself or with two. And there was real culture in that. At Penn State, the intramural pickup games were so elite. Like it's hard to put into words how good that experience was because you walk into the intramural building, you go right to the left down the hall, everyone knows it. You walk into the gym and there's three courts. The first court there, it's all the football players, it's all the basketball players, and it's all the guys that want to compete against them. So if you lose on that court, you're done for the day. That's it. There is no extra. You're done because it's a 6 game wait for you to get back on. Then you have the people beefing with each other to say, well, I had next. Well, I had double next. Well, I had next. It's like all these things are crazy. Then you go on the second court. The second court was the like, hey, we're really competitive. We had great high school careers. We just kind of we don't want to be on that court for today. Or the runs are so there's too many. So we have to go to the second court just to get cardio in and just to play. And the third court was the one if you wanted to warm up. And like that was very rarely any issue there. You play on that when there's like lunchtime runs or things like that. But if you were winning on the first court, like there, if you win three in a row there, that's bragging rights for a week. Like Saturday runs in the spring were a thing. Like it was a real deal. And so I just have such fond memories of developing my game and my IQ and talking trash and competing and going back and forth. And, I wish that there was a bit more of that instead of, oh, well, I played 5-on-5, but, I scored this many points. Like, I'd like to get back to the place where it's like, no, I won five straight. I rattled off seven straight. Like,
So
those are the things that I think kind of prove your point, if I'm
yeah,
at.
I was going to say, I think in an effort to disagree with me, you actually agreed with me more. Talking about how kids don't care about bragging rights. That's being competitive. Kids, and also, I think I'm speaking more to just the general kid. I'm not talking about most of these kids that are going to play in college. I think they obviously have to have some level of competitive drive. I'm more so speaking on just the general kid. I don't think the general kid is playing three, four, five sports. I think that was a
Mm,
much more common practice when we were kids and when you were kids. I think that's what I'm thinking. I'm talking about in just general competitiveness, general competition, everything. I don't want to lose at anything. I want to win everything.
right.
Anybody that doesn't want to win at everything wired differently than me. And I
Yeah.
blessing and a curse. I think but I think that that's kind of it trickles into kids nowadays. I think that there's just a less of a desire to be competitive.
Yeah, maybe. I didn't want this to become a level of like generational competitiveness competi or a conversation.
My
Um,
generation's way more competitive than yours. We're tough.
well, not than mine. Let's just
I'm
get that clear.
whoa.
That's different. But no, I think that, part of it though is like how are we creating atmospheres for these things to take place? Um, we try at the Burlington School to be very diligent with this during preseason workouts. Like when you get into the season, practices aren't as focused on 5-on-5 full court stuff. You're more working on your sets, you're more working on your defensive principles. Sometimes you'll get into like transition drills where you have to do it and this, that, and the third. But like when we're in preseason, like we're after it. Like I want coaches to come into our gym and see like, no, these are like who's winning four straight? Like And some of the stories that you have that are just so fantastic, especially from the best of the best players in the world, the NBA players. Is there anything more epic than the Jimmy Butler story in Minnesota? Like, the bragging rights like that, it's honestly like that's better than you winning a scoring title. Like, there's more bragging rights in you being in a situation where you took a lesser quality team and won against the starters. Like, there's so much weight that is carried in those moments. I just hope that we can get to a place where we can get back to it. And I don't know how that is. I don't know if there's gyms across the community that can create a safe space for this. If there's lunchtime runs that happen for adult leagues, I think an adult league is a good thing, but that generation has already benefited from playing pickup. What are we going to do to kind of solve it for this new generation? I think is very important.
Yeah, definitely a good question to ask. I don't know. As far as adult leagues go, the last adult league I played in had to get shut down because of too many death threats. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Maybe
adult.
that's why kids don't play pickup is
Yeah.
because your generation is not smart enough to not make death threats to people
Hey,
whenever they're
George,
playing a
it was
pickup
a guy
game.
your age, but you got it. You know what I'm talking about. But
I'm sure that I do. I'm sure that I do. I also think that there's a connection between 5-on-5 stuff and half court stuff, whether it's twos, threes, fours, and
sure,
your IQ.
yeah.
Um, I
Ball
think
movement, off ball movement.
the culture of bag work does not lend itself well to pick up basketball because if you're playing with someone older and better and you're trying to get into your bag and you're losing, oh my God, this you better just walk out the gym right then because you're gonna hear about it. If you take a bad shot with an old head, they're gonna tell you about it. Like but those things made you a better player. I miss it personally. I really do miss it. Um, don't know when it will come back, but I'm open to any conversation to try and get it to do so, specifically in the Alamance Greensboro area. Can you imagine like pickup games with the level of high school talent we have in this space? Like, God, it would be unbelievable. You could do like a high school version of Rico Hines open runs in California.
I know Jalen went to a bunch of those. Isaiah too, like Jamari and Isaiah and
Hmm.
Quill and a lot of those guys. They have a lot of runs around this area frequently. But yeah, it's good to see a lot of the better kids in the area still doing that. So hopefully it does
Sure.
pick back up.
Well, those kids, it makes sense given where they went.
Right. Yeah.
Like maybe if you're not in a place where you need to be, you focus a little more on playing some more team basketball.
I agree.
I mean, this is not rocket science.
Proof's in the pudding.
The proof is in the pudding. Let's
Guys
see.
who compete.
Let's see. Jamari Thomas is, player of the year in the MEAC and then goes to South
It's high
Carolina.
major.
Now is high major. I don't know, but he loves doing that. I don't know. What do I know? I'm just a lowly high school basketball coach. I don't know a thing.
Emphasis on lowly.
Correct. Emphasis on lowly.